Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the new Kizer T1 BD in PVD copper, L-Max, and titanium. It is also a button-operated top liner lock, or really, I point this out at the beginning with a lot of these newer Kizers. This lock actually does engage almost exactly, if not exactly the same way as an actual Spyderco compression lock, which is that the lock itself engages both with the lock face right here, behind the lock face, not underneath it, and the stop pin. I opened one of these up a while back and found that there's actually a shaved off spot on the back of the stop pin right here, and this lock slides into place underneath and contacts the stop pin and the lock face. Now I'm hesitant to call this officially a compression lock because I don't know if by Kizer's definition they would call it that as well. So I will just point out this is a button operated top liner lock that engages the same way as a compression lock and appears to be a better engagement overall than a lot of what's on the market right now, which is just the top liner lock. And those are plenty fine. I find those to be more reliable, more robust than your standard liner locks, and especially your plunge locks. But Kizer is standout right now in this territory in that they do that. So that's very cool. On top of that, this is a combination of materials that is incredibly competitive, which is par for the course for Kizer, but once again, it highlights them as a major competitor. It's 2026 right now. The prices on everything, regardless of the country of origin, are going up, and here's Kizer still doing incredible things and still offering incredible products for completely reasonable prices. Now, this is the L-Max version. There are versions of this with Nitro V, and of course, like they have the non-titanium versions that are even less. So I'll try to provide a link that goes to all of those different variations. You guys can check them out if you want to. If it does help my channel when you use those links, but that's entirely up to you. Thanks to Kizer for sending this in. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me. This is one of my most carried knives of the last, in my time, 4 weeks of the last month. By the time you guys are seeing this, it'll be like a month and a half, maybe a month and 3 weeks or so. But this is cool, based on, of course, the original T1. It's one of the first Kizers that I was aware of was the T1 years and years and years ago, so it's neat to see them bring this back. Let's go ahead and get a measurement of this knife. Overall length is coming in at 7.5 inches, blade length 3 1/4, cutting edge just shy of 3. Let's do some size comparisons. Any custom scales you find in this section can be found down in the description under Original Goat and others, up against the full-size Excalibur, and you can also see my compact Excalibur, very similar overall size. Let's put it up against the Spyderco PM2 and the Spyderco Para 3. Very similar overall size to the Para 3, and also incredibly similar ergonomic zones. So there's a lot of things there, including the locking system, that many people might find appealing about this knife. And then finally, we'll put it up against the Benchmade Group Tillionaire, in this case the Ritter Hogue and the Hogue Deca. How is the action? I absolutely love, in fact, I'll just go ahead and say it, Kizer's half moon button is the best. Like, it's such a little thing, like the shape of the button. It's like it's easier to press, or I don't know if it's easier. It's more satisfying. And their lock bar tension on this is so good, man. So good. I missed it there, sorry. I trust this locking system. I hope that you do too. This is a very, very good locking system, but the combination of it, at least the lock bar tension on this one, and just realizing how long that went on. It went on for so long. But the combination of the lock bar tension and the fact that it actually engages with two surfaces is so great, but the button makes it easy to overcome that tension, and it's very comfortable. Right, so deploying it with the thumb stud, I wish their thumb studs were domed, but they're fine. Reverse flick, all of that, you can do all that. But the actual action itself, it's like, look at that. That's awesome. The action's great. Carry profile thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. Oh, it's a hair thicker. Length and height up against the PM2 and the Para 3. Pretty easy knife to carry outside of the fact that it is somewhat of it's very dense, right? You're looking at some steel internals and quite a bit of titanium. So let's go ahead and weigh it. We are looking at LMAX. We'll talk about the blade steel and HRC here in just a second. But we are looking at copper PVD coated LMAX, titanium, and some steel internals for a weight of 4.9 ounces, which is not a lot for me. It's not enough to dissuade me from carrying it, but for some people that's going to be too heavy. And to those people, I would say all you need to do is look to the versions of this that are not utilizing titanium scales. Kizer would be smart to combine a super steel like LMAX. Yes, LMAX is still considered a super steel with a lighter material, right? But I think the versions of it that are going to be lighter are going to be combining kind of like medium range steels with materials like G10 or carbon fiber. I can't remember, not carbon fiber, micarta, right? So this might be too heavy for some people. And I will note the balance is on the back side of the primary index finger position. So if balance and weight are really important to you, that might be a dissuading factor, but for me, it's not. This is still well within the overall size and weight range that, you know, I carry it comfortably. So let's go ahead and do a hardware check. I'll get out my tools. As per usual, my tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use on this channel. I'm pretty sure that's a T8. T8. Pocket clip screws are also T8, and you have mounting positions on both sides. Excellent. Very easy to take apart and put back together. As long as you have the right tools for the job, you should be good to go. Let's measure the blade stock thickness. I actually don't know or don't remember. I know I have a review on the T1 from probably like 5 years ago, but I don't know what the blade stock thickness was. This is 116 thousandths, so pretty thin. Meat and potatoes time. Outside of the good value and the locking system, this is a very straightforward knife. We have roughly 79 kajabillion knives out there that look just like this, but the look of it is, again, not the reason that it's exciting. The look of it is very basic and straightforward, and, you know, it's safe ergos, safe blade shape, functional jimping. It's everything that you would want. It does all of the knife stuff really well, and it's not trying to be something different. Again, this is a design from years and years and years and years ago, and 20 years before that, it would have been considered a very common knife design, right? So Kizer's not trying to do anything spectacular there. They're trying to make something that has always been good and make it better, and they have succeeded in that. This is probably another, you know, it's like PVD coating. The black here, I think the black and copper looks really good. It is not going to be the same durability as something like DLC. So expect a coating like this to wear off slowly over time, but it's cool. Black and copper looks cool. I think it looks pretty classy. Very comfortable. The pocket clip does not create anything that I would define as an ergonomic hotspot. You have a nice little choke up position here. Behind the edge, I would say it's between medium and medium thin. It's fine. It cuts well. This is LMAX, which is a steel that will perform very well. Pretty darn good edge retention, decent toughness, good corrosion resistance, and it's not a nightmare to sharpen up when it's heat treated correctly. Is it heat treated correctly? Well, that's the question. They advertise this as 60 to 62 on their own website. From what I've seen from Taylor, and his database is growing, we should have a clearer picture as he continues to test more stuff. And I can't remember if he said Kizer actually contacted him directly and offered to send stuff. I can't remember. I know that a few companies have, and that's great. But I hope that Kizer, you know, would offer to send more. Kizer has had an issue with their heat treatment in the past. When I say issue, I mean the range they selected for their steels. Like I think it was like maybe like the 10V or whatever. They just weren't anywhere near what the community wanted. Right? When it comes down to range, there is like, as far as like the acceptable range on average is pretty wide. As far as like our section of the community, we want it more narrow and towards the higher side, right? That doesn't mean that we are all universally absolutely correct all the time, but I'm still going to give my opinion, and that's that 60 to 62 would be very, very good if they're going to consistently hit it there. Are they hitting it there? I don't know. Cutting with this, it's fine. I have cut with it very casually. Initially, just carrying it, you know, on and off for about a month. If it were very poorly heat treated, even my simple, very non-scientific, casual, everyman carry experience would have yielded a result. I would have been able to tell if it was like that Sativian that I carried, where I cut through cardboard like 10 slices and it was dull. So no, and I don't think Kizer is known for having absolutely abysmal HRC. I think they've had some goof ups here and there, right? But I would expect them, if they advertise at 60-62, 62-62, just like everybody else, I would expect them to hit it there. So I would hope that after Taylor has a chance to test a lot of Kizer, with same steel and more recent Kizers, I would hope that ultimately it would reflect that. But this seems to be fine. We won't know for sure until we have extensive data, right? So fit and finish, as per usual, very, very good. Kizer, I think, has just gotten better over the years, but there are no issues with the cutting bevel or seating of the hardware. Nothing looks wonky, feels off. There's no major stick. There's slight stick, but that's what I would normally expect with a button lock. It's not, I don't even know if it's like stick. It's just like the friction that you would expect the lock bar to, like, that. It's a friction you would expect to overcome with the lock bar that's properly engaged. It doesn't feel like lock stick, like obnoxious stick is like how I would describe most Strider knives. Like, that's stick. It's getting stuck. Like, there's way too much friction holding on there. Like I said, mounting positions on either side for right or left-handed people. You have a lanyard bar here, so that's fine. Pocket clip is stamped, but as far as like things that they could change to reduce the price, like Elmex and titanium with a titanium backspacer and titanium pocket clip, most companies from China, I would expect them, if they're a good company and they make a good product, right around $200. If Kizer's trying to be competitive and check all those boxes but come in less than 200, the first thing I would say to let go is the milled clip. Some people prefer it, but I'd be like, hey, listen, changing the clip from milled to stamped, if you can, reduce the price and get it lower by doing that, do that first, right? If you prefer a milled clip, you just expect to pay more. I mean, relatively speaking, like depending on, if we're comparing apples to apples. With this being a button-operated top liner lock, there is no exposed frame to work around. You can squeeze as hard as you want, and if you're right-handed, your index finger, your middle finger is never naturally going to come in contact with that button, right? Even like gripping it like this, no. If you're left-handed, you can put pressure on that button by squeezing, so you need to be paying attention to that if you are left-handed. Your lockup is completely and totally solid. It does run on bearings. I figured you'd guess that. No blade play up, down, left, or right. Like I said, it's not what I would define as stick. It's just overcoming the friction. Like, it doesn't feel like typical lock stick. It doesn't feel like accidental. It just feels like the lock bar is really wedged in there, which is what I want. And it's very easy to overcome considering the shape of that button. No pivot lash, very smooth and consistent in here. Kizer's bearing action has just gone up and up and up. Better and better and better. Excellent detent. Sits right there in the middle. Dead centered, no detent lash. Elmex version of this knife is $180. Extremely competitive. This is a ridiculously good knife. It doesn't have the best balance. It's a little heavy, but what a great knife. I hope Kizer makes a bajillion knives that are similar. I love that what Kizer seems to be doing is creating at least as close as they can to an actual compression lock. And you know what? Whatever they want to call it, even if it's only, 90% the definition, let's say there's some other clearly the thing is tough. It will clearly hold up to not just pressure, but multiple impacts, right? This is a really, really good knife. It is extremely recommendable. And if it's too much, go with one of the less expensive versions, because I have to imagine they're built exactly the same way. Bravo, Kizer. Keep doing exactly this. Make sure that your HRC numbers are up. We'll know more soon. But as far as everything else that I'm able to gain from, just casually carrying this knife, it's 2 thumbs up for me. I think this is awesome. It'll go in my most recommended knives playlist. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.